Salutations, y'all. It's finally time to give y'all an update on Winter 2025 Reading Journal, but also a setup for my March spreads as well. So, I'm not totally sure how I'm supposed to go about this, mostly because this is my first time ever doing like flip through setup stuff in my reading journal. So I figured, you know what, let's just experiment here. So, bear with me here. But if you want to know like how I set up all these spreads and stuff in the first place, I definitely do recommend checking out in the video description or in the cards. Hopefully I'll link it up in the cards for my setup video as well. So let's start flipping through of all the spreads so far. Any spreads that I need to update y'all on. So index has gone a little, not too much longer, but the book bracket is a little bit different because I have indeed included some books here if you can read that. I'm not going to include any book covers on here until pretty much, maybe like the first few months, maybe like a mid-year check-in. We can do like these ones, but end of the year, we'll have more of a focus on the book bracket. But for right now, we'll just move on with that. And also, the best books per month are determined by the Caw Pile rating scores. And then anything from here is based on like personal preference. But for the month stuff here, Caw Pile ratings. Now, as far as intentions in the books read for 2025, I have crossed out Slow Down Arc request because y'all will find out pretty soon here actually that I indeed requested more books for this year. So yeah, playing catch up, but now I'm still slowing it down a little bit more, but I got a lot of play catch up. Also here as well, I do have some things crossed out. So these two books here, A Treachery of Swans by A.B. Pornick and The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig, I have crossed them out, removed them from my TBR because I don't think these books are actually gonna be books I'm actually gonna like. Especially since I tried to read this author's debut novel, it wasn't really for me, and this one I'm no longer as interested in. For the books that have this crossed out here but look a little bit more shiny and silvery, those are the books that I have actually read prior to 2025. So Things Fall Apart, Jasmine Throne, The Atlas Six. Yeah, I've read these books already before 2025, so there's no point in me adding it. I just put it in the spread here so that I can actually see the series that they're a part of. But that's pretty much it. Now, as far as books I have read in here, for the most part, mostly just through the anticipated releases section. Not so much on the series, honestly. The only update I have for series-wise is the Oleander Sword, by reading this entire series with Nat from Something Bookish This Way Comes, so that's pretty much it. And then from here is because of arcs. So I've read Death of the Author, River Has Roots, The Potency of Ungovernable Impulses, Modern Divination, and Heminging Luck, which we will talk about a little bit later. Now, my series tracker. I've definitely made several updates here on the series. I've added more series on here. I made notes on the series. So far, I have, again, like I said, The Potency of Ungovernable Impulses, the third book in the Massa and Paletti series. So I did put in green for I caught up. Also caught up on Spells for Life and Death duology, since I've read the first book, Modern Divination. So that's already caught up because the sequel is not out until next year. And I did put in DNF/on haul for A Study in Drowning duology because I did DNF A Theory of Dreaming. And I am not continuing on the Iron Widow series. I thought it would be a duology, but it ends up being, looks like a trilogy, and I'm not trying to read all that. So I'm putting it as a DNF series. And then I added a couple series. I added Cursebreaker series by Veronica Roth because there is a sequel that's coming out later on this year, I think September or something. So I'm adding that there because I do want to read the sequel and it's already part of the series. So yeah, the first book was When Among Crows. And then I read a book for the Reluctant Royal series by Alyssa Cole. That's a completed series, so actually I can like really check my way down through that. But I did check off A Princess of Theory since I did read that as well. But yeah, just need to continue on with that one. And then I did read the sequel to Jasmine Throne, Oleander Sword, so I'm catching up to this series. But I did check off the Oleander Sword here. And then I did add this Secret series by T.M. Richardson because I did read The Oath as well. It's not going to be updated through here, but it is a series that I have indeed started in March. So yeah, we'll see about the sequels though. Alright, so Buzzwordathon. I have indeed wrote down some titles here that I have read for certain prompts. I didn't print any book covers, unfortunately, because for some reason I didn't think to print book covers. I wanted to wait until I completed the entire board. So this is not even completed until like the end of the year, basically. But maybe I'll put in book covers for like the mid-year update or something. And then Self-Destruct TBR, not much here, but I did cross out The Invisible Life of Valerie Rue. It was the very first book I DNF'd this year. Yeah, I said DNF and on hold. I wrote down it was too boring and not for me. literally, this was not the book for me. So I still have 5 other books left in this TBR. As far as the 6 First for 6 Friends, I have already read 2 books that are recommended by friends already. And I'm very much looking forward to reading these 4 books here as well. This one I put on pause, Chain Gang All-Stars, but I will come back to it for sure. And then I still have these 3 that I have yet to attempt. But so far, pretty good progress. I'm actually pretty satisfied with my progress on the 6 First by 6 Friends. I just wish I had a little bit better progress on Self-Destruct, but my Buzz Readathon one is really looking so strong. So very happy with how these spreads are turning out so far. And then now, as far as books read and versus books bought, I have indeed read a lot of books. As you can tell here, like a whole row shelf here has been filled up. And as far as books bought, not so much. It does include physical and digital purchases. So these 4 here I have purchased physically, and these 2 here I purchased digitally. But so far, not a lot, which I really like to keep up with that. I don't want to buy so many books in 2025, honestly, even though this is not quite an accurate representation, honestly, of the books I've bought. I still have like 3 more books I bought actually in March. But as far as what I bought in and read as well in January, February, this is what I got here, and I'm actually quite satisfied. Now, I did color in 2 books here, and that's because those are the books that I have read that I've bought, and I want to make note of that as well, that hey, if I bought books and I read them in that year, I want to make note of the fact that I read them that year, or I bought a book that I've already read. So I want to differentiate the ones I've read versus unread. Maybe I'll even differentiate the ones I even end up unhauling, which I hope I don't end up unhauling. That's really my goal, honestly, is to not unhaul books that I bought this year. Like, that's just a waste of money. I don't want that to happen. So that's why also my book spending is lower, because I don't want to spend so much money on books that I end up unhauling within that same year. That's the idea here. So far, pretty good, actually. And then also, this is the update here on the physical TBR from the books that I have on my physical TBR at the start of the year, and so far I made a lot of progress, as y'all could tell with them coloring. And then we have the key here. There's plenty of books I've read that I've kept. There are books that I have DNF'd and unhauled, books that I even have not read and unhauled so far. So far I haven't read anything that I've unhauled, so that's interesting. And so far nothing I've DNF'd that I wanted to keep. So yeah, so far I say this is some pretty good progress. I still have all the space here, so I don't know what to do with this here, but everything around here is actually been pretty good. So very happy that I'm getting some books read for my physical TBR, but also getting rid of books that no longer serve me. Now, as far as my 2025 arcs, as y'all could tell, I put in all the book covers, and yes, I did indeed get an arc for another book. In fact, I even got 2 more arcs, actually. So yeah, as y'all can tell here with my 2025 arcs, it does look a little bit different here, because I did attempt to read a couple arcs as they're crossed out here. These ones that are crossed out are books that I actually DNF'd. So yeah, I DNF'd Watermoon, The Legend of Menica, A Theory of Dreaming. So I crossed them out. And the ones I've read, How Much Long Look, Modern Domination, The Reverse Roots, Death of the Author, The Potency of Ungovernable Impulses. So far, those ones are the ones I've read. And then, of course, as you see here, there's a book that I did get approved of, thanks to, I think, Riverhead. So I actually did print out a book cover. So yes, I will indeed be starting to stick this book in here for the spot here, since it's another arc that I need to keep track of now. So now that is updated now for as far as arcs. We'll see about March as far as like the progress of this, honestly. I don't think all of this stuff is gonna be filled out, if you're wondering. No, I don't think all of this is gonna be filled out by the end of the year or anything. I don't think I'm gonna request that many more arcs, but so far requested a lot, but I've made progress on some. And a lot of these books also have some different release dates, so I have some time to like read them. But anyways, let's look at the buddy read section here, which I'm still trying to figure out what to do with, honestly. But so far, we've successfully completed the buddy read for, of course, the Judgment Throne already. The Oleander Sword, we've done. The Maid and the Crocodile, we've done. My mom and I are buddy reading Blood at the Root. She's already finished reading it. I put the book on pause. So this is still an ongoing buddy read, but these 3 are already complete. And in fact, I do need to update this spread here, because the next book I'm going to be buddy reading with Nat, and even with Julie as well, is The Lotus Empire. So I actually do need to add this book cover onto here as well. Alrighty, so yeah, I also do make note of here as far as who I'm buddy reading, if you can even see that, but yeah, so far Nat and then my mom, and this will be Nat and Julie as well, which we do probably should start doing the buddy read for The Lotus Empire pretty soon, because I'm very excited to finish off this series. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll make notes of like the buddy reads themselves. I don't know, I haven't figured out what to do with this empty space yet, but yeah, if any of y'all want to like buddy read a book together, just let me know. Hit me up on like Instagram, DM me, and we can figure out but we can buddy read. And I do recommend Storygraph for the buddy read feature because it makes the buddy reads way more fun, honestly. I recommend. Now this here is a whole new spread here, because G from Book Rose has finally announced the 2025 adventure in Aldia. Now, as you can tell here, there's a big space here. This is actually supposed to be where the map is supposed to go. I don't have it printed out yet because I wanted to print out the map along with the book covers. Again, y'all, I'm trying to make sure I'm conserving the paper. I am to pre-printing all these things. I use my library to print, and I want to make sure that like I'm printing all the things at the same time. So there is no map here, but I will put a picture right up here in the screen as far as like what the map will look like. But I do recommend, though, going down in the video description down below for the link to the 2025 adventure in Aldia, because it's kind of like a choose your own adventure style, and that's why all the things here are kind of like just be pretty blank. Now, I did write down the books that I'll print the book covers for, but again, I'm waiting until like the end of the year to just print all of that so y'all can see all the covers, but I did write them down if you can read them. And I also wrote down the path that I went on in the journey, since I don't have the map here. But when I do the map, I think I might make a note of in the map itself where I went and stuff, so I can see a visual representation of where I went and stuff, and also with the written down version as well for like the prompts and things. But yeah, I'm very much happy here. I'm liking my progress here. So far, making some pretty good progress. Since it is Choose Your Adventure, I'm kind of like mood reading my way through this, and I'm actually very satisfied with the way that I've mood read. All right, now we are finally gone here to the January spread. So I'm just gonna go through this stuff kind of a little bit quickly, a little bit. But as far as January's calendar, I don't particularly love how I did this calendar. I like that I have so much decoration here, and I like the colors and all that. But my problem with the calendar is that this calendar itself took too much space. I want the calendar page here to take up less space. So I do want, and like future calendar spreads, because I do love having a calendar for my reading journal. In the future, I will make the boxes for the calendar weeks like smaller, so it doesn't take up too much space, but I do, so that I can have more room for like these big stickers that I always have. But I don't really have much actual functions for the calendar except to look there, and also I do have like book releases for the Tuesdays, but other than that, I don't have much else on here. Unless there's like readathons, I'll make note of that as well, but no readathon, they ain't no much. So yeah, January was a really weird month anyways. I will link down below if you have not checked it out already, but it should be the video before this. There should be a video for my wrap up for both January and February, or like the winter 2025 wrap up, reading wrap up I should say, in the video description, so that y'all can hear all my thoughts on like all these review spreads for both January and February if you've missed it out. But as far as reading hopefuls, because I don't do a TBR, but I do have hopefuls, and the way that I went with this is more like a big book bingo style. I just had like 8 books I kind of want to see if I like would want to read. Not fully successful here, because this row right here, this whole column I should say actually, are books that I DNF'd. Yeah, Infernal's Heir, Water Moon, The Invisible Life of Valley Rue, all this is DNF'd, and then I did read January's. And then of course I read these 2 books, but not in January. And I attempted to read Rebel Sisters, but it was put on pause. I didn't even touch there, so yeah, and it's this nice free space. So I guess I had bingos, I guess, in a way. I'm going to count it as a bingo, whatever. Bingo is what it is. But yeah, attempt was made, but I don't think I'm going to do a book bingo style, because I do like how it takes some pretty solid amount of space, but I don't like how the way that the book covers look in comparison. So maybe I can make like, go on Canva and make the book covers like more square-like, so it can take up actual space, I guess. I don't know. And then just like cross out if I've read them, or even DNF them, because I'm going to count my DNFs, okay? I'm going to count them. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do for the future. Salutations, y'all. This is editing me in postscript. I would just want to say that a lot of the stuff I talk about when I put these book covers is pretty much what you've already have heard from me say before from my previous wrap-up video. But I just want to make note here, though, that it did take me a long time actually to even film this video, because my camera battery was dying. I had to recharge it for a solid couple of hours every time. And then I had to get a whole new tape roller, because my old one, literally in the middle of I was recording, I just used it all up. So I had to go to a local craft store and just get another one. So that took longer than expected. But honestly, a lot of this stuff here is just me putting in all the book covers and me just talking about the call pile ratings, which honestly is the same thing with my star ratings for my wrap up. So there's not much really to add in here, to be honest. But I did want to at least show y'all what the spreads looked like. I'm actually quite proud of like how I really went about the spreads for the most part. for every single like review page, and also with my February like calendar pages and stuff. But I will have to say I don't like how I pre-plan a lot of them, honestly. For a lot of these books, I do want to think of like, oh, each book will have its own page, but some books I don't have a lot of thoughts on. So I figured, half a page or even a quarter or a third of the page or something. But I've definitely learned that for some books, I actually do need way more space. Like for when I talked about Modern Divination and Sister Snake, I actually really wish I had an entire page to talk about those books. And then even with like Death of the Author, I wish I had an entire page as well. Murder by Memory, I actually am kind of wishing that I had like less space for it, because I didn't have that many thoughts since it was a novella. But a lot of these longer books that I tend to read, I do wish I had more like a full page. But I also want to make sure that my notebook can last me the entire reading year as well. But I will have to make sure that just pre-planning wise to give myself way more space and time to actually have room to have all these review pages, honestly. So that's what I'm going to be doing in the future, is just not pre-plan my review pages. But other than that, I'm really happy with the amount of washi tape, stickers, the size in the book covers, the font and everything of my lettering and all that as far as what fits into the pages. I'm quite satisfied with that. And then as far as like my stats wrap up, I'm actually quite satisfied with how I went about my stats wrap up pages. I like having the overview from Storygraph on there, along with some like graphs and bars and bar graph stuff that's included from Storygraph that's provided to me, and just printing that out into the page. I might do a little bit better as far as placement and maybe add a little bit more decoration to it, but I think I'm actually pretty satisfied with how everything turned out for the most part. And as far as like filming a video like this, I definitely am learning way more on like how I really want to go about with making these kind of videos. I do like making these kind of videos, but I always try to figure out how to go about it, since I watch a lot of journaling content. And I think I figured out a way that's actually going to work for me, that also makes the editing process easier, filming process easier, but also I think the viewing experience a little bit easier. So apologies for this video for being a little bit of a rough one, to be quite honest, as far as what I want to include in here, but I do think for the future I have a better way of going about things.
Running wild. shout so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. The moonlight, summer sky, it was the best we ever had. And we'll stay on forever, we'll never have regrets. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild.
Alright, so here is the March spreads right here. So here's a calendar. It's still relatively like the same size as the one for February because I didn't quite plan the spacing right. In fact, I think I should have had the 31st be on top of here. That way I had a little bit more space lengthwise. But then again, if I had too much space, I wouldn't be able to fit these book covers down here. I would have to put the reading hopefuls here, or even not even have them at all. But I would rather have the hopefuls on the spread. So I do still kind of like the calendar. I think it's still fine. Sure, on March 18th, we have like two book releases here for The Prince Without Sorrow that I do have an e-arc for, and The Buffalo Hunter Hunter, which I'm really curious about and actually quite excited to try out when it comes out. Also, as far as the reading hopefuls here, I do have like a couple arcs. Actually, no, 4 arcs actually.
The next day.
Okay, my camera just rudely interrupted me again because it needed to charge. So I generally don't even quite remember where I last left off, but I remember I was talking about my reading hopefuls. And as you could tell, I did add something a little bit to the calendar because I wanted to make a note actually of the trans rights readathon that's happening on March 22nd to March 31st, which is pretty much a readathon where you read books written by trans, non-binary, gender non-conforming, agender authors featuring trans characters and the umbrella and all the things. So yeah, and not just reading that, but also financially contributing to mutual aid funds, maybe organization that help deal with trans rights. So yeah, there's actually a whole like form and stuff that you just register for and all the things. And I'm kind of actually quite interested actually in participating. So I just put a note of it here at least, so to keep track of all that. I don't even have like a TBR or anything, but I would like to just participate if I can. And yeah, so that's why I added here and made note of here. So as far as some hopefuls, currently I am reading Little Ride by Akweke Emezi right now. So this is actually a major focus for me since I started it. A Drop of Corruption I got as an arc from Del Rey. So I already started this one, hoping to finish reading this before it comes out on April 1st. This is another arc, Don't Sleep with the Dead by Niveau. This comes out April 8th. This is a novella, so I think I'll be able to sneak my way into reading this one. And Ember in the Ashes, I'm hopeful to read because I do have the audiobook on hold for my library, and I'm just waiting for it to come in so that I can read it. I do own the first book of this series physically, and I've been wanting to read this quartet since, well, Air, the spin-off within this world. So we'll see if I even like the quartet enough to even read the duology, the Air duology. So we'll see about this one. Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake. I got it as an advanced listening copy from Macmillan Audio, so I can read this ahead of time. It comes out April 1st, and I'm very, very curious about this one since this is completely original. It's not been published before. It's not been self-published to trad-pub. It's completely original. So I really want to see how Olivia Blake wrote this and see how that all goes. And then I have We Can Never Leave by H.E. Edgman. I think this is a standalone contemporary fantasy. Yeah, and it's a young adult. I think this book definitely would fit for sure for trans rights readathon. Same thing with like Little Ride by Akweke Emezi as well, but I really would like to kind of save this for the trans rights readathon if I were to participate. So yeah, kind of hold on to this one. I got it as an e-arc from the publisher, and it comes out, I think, June 10th or 3rd. I don't know, sometime in early June. I can't quite remember, but I'm very curious about this one. And then I have my stats page right here that's just completely blank. I'll be able to populate this at the end of March whenever I get time to do that. But I just want to put in the title for March stats, and I have this nice owl picture right here. Owl sticker right here, so yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it, y'all. That's it. That's all I have here. So let's actually do a little bit of updating of all these spreads into my index. So I'm going to make note of all that in the index here. But yep, I think that's it, y'all. I think that's all I really need to update y'all on. I'll still figure out a way to keep note of books I've read and all the things. But yeah, this is pretty much it. This is literally all I really have. I've updated here as far as my front matter. I kind of need to update the read and books bought thing a little bit for March, but other than that, pretty accurate. This is looking pretty accurate as well. The arcs and stuff is mostly accurate. I just need to add a little bit one here. I don't have the book cover for, but very much satisfied with how these spreads are looking like. But I'm actually really glad though as far as January and February reading pages. Definitely going to keep kind of doing this formatted a little bit here. I will make sure though to not make any pre-planned reviews pages so that I can better guesstimate on how this is all gonna look like for the future and stuff, and that way I have room to do all my reviews and things. But yes, thank you all though for watching this flip through setup video. If you actually like this kind of video, please like the video, but also comment down below any of y'all's thoughts on how I actually went about this. I mean, especially like the filming of this stuff. Like, are y'all interested in doing like a month by month kind of thing, every couple months? I wouldn't mind doing this every couple of months kind of update instead of every month, since like I don't quite do wrap-ups every month anyways. Sometimes I do it every couple months or by the seasons. But yeah, y'all just let me know actually on how y'all want me to go about doing all of these reading journal videos, really, because I'm still new to how frequent to make these kind of videos. but I have been enjoying though, like making them though. I find them to be quite comforting to film, but also a little bit to edit. So yeah, just let me know. Comment down below as well. Just, you know, just general thoughts, bullet journaling, reading journal stuff. If any of these spreads also inspired you to make your own reading journal spreads, let me know in the comments down below. And if you're new here and you want to subscribe to not just journaling content, but also just like bookish content in general, even me talking about films and TV maybe in the future, you know, subscribe to the channel if you want to. And if you made it this far into the video, you're not so sure what to say, we'll leave me an emoji to let me know you're here. I don't know, some sort of like journaling emoji. So kind of like a notebook, a pen, maybe a laptop or something. I don't know, something like that. I don't know, I'll have the emoji shown here on the screen. Anyways, thank you all again for coming on to this video, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye bye.